Hey everybody, and welcome to Rotten to the Lore episode 6. I'm Cece, or Agro Baby.
I'm Alex the Queer, or Alex.
And we're super happy to have you here today to join us as we continue our adventure, moving steadily forward as we get closer and closer and closer to the fabled release and the start of set rotation. Up until this point, we've been going set by set each episode, and that's because a lot of new stuff was coming out as the game was just starting to exist. Now we're going to move a little bit faster, and we're going to go 2 sets at a time. So today we'll be taking you out into the Shimmering Skies and onto the Azurite Sea in multiple adventures as we move closer and closer to this great new milestone that's coming up for us. So before we get into some more fun stuff that we have planned today, like we have a special guest that's going to be visiting us, Robin, to talk about some of the judging stuff going on in Lorcana. We're going to talk a little bit about the story and see where we are in the world of Lorcana. After the fall of the Sea Witch Queen, King Arthur declared a grand celebration. The kingdom buzzed with excitement. Banners waved, cakes were baked, and glimmers from across the realm journeyed to the festival. Just to be safe, Arthur called on the legendary 7 Knights of the Dwarven Mines to keep watch, because even in the joy, the dark never sleeps. While Lilo frosted cupcakes and Donald Duck practiced darts with Daisy cheering him on, not everyone received the welcome invitation. Villains like Maleficent and Mother Gothel were turned away at the gates by Kronk, head of security. Of course, Emperor Kuzco just skipped the line entirely. Still, villains snuck in. Ratigan crashed in on the chandelier, and Scoop slithered through the shadows. Maleficent began weaving thorns across the fairgrounds. But luckily, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather were ready, transforming those creepy vines into colorful ribbons. Glimmers tested their skills in games and contests. Robin Hood nailed the archery bullseye. Donald won the dart championship, and Hades challenged Hercules to an arm wrestling match. Because of course he did. Even a food fight broke out thanks to Goofy, but Minnie and Daisy stayed spotless the whole time. Just then, the sky cracked. A shard of the great illuminary plummeted to the earth, shaking the festival to its core. Merlin was struck by a vision. There were 6 magical artifacts called chromicons, and they could be used to restore the illuminary's power. Guided by clever crews and a shrewd map, the Glimmers set off in search. They uncovered secret rooms and glowing jewels. Something bigger was brewing. Clues suggested the missing piece had been carried off by a giant owl, headed straight for the shifting maze of the Azurite Sea. So the Illumineers and Glimmers gathered their courage, built a fleet of ships, and set sail across the magical ocean, where the waves constantly shift and secrets lie hidden in the mist. Pirates roamed the water, including Captain Hook, who captured Tinkerbell, until Peter Panch lost a daring rescue and escaped with the map. Just when a Kakamora warship rose from the depths, Baymax and Hero arrived like a shooting star, saving the day with a blast of light and armor. But the adventure was only beginning. There were still chromicons to find, villains to stop, and secrets waiting deep within the sea. As they pressed ever forward through the maze of the Azurite Sea, their destination became clear as the path opened itself before them, and soon they could see off in the distance an island. So they continued onward through the Azurite Seas, ever vigilant, knowing that this island must have the answers they seek.
Welcome to a segment that we like to call Meta Corner. Whenever we're talking about the Meta Corner, we have previously been discussing one particular set. But this time, we're doing two sets. We're going to be talking about Shimmering Skies and Azurite Sea, both of which change the metagame. And with the rotation coming up, they are the first ones that matter in the new rotation. So, it seems fitting to talk about them right before Fable releases. Let's start with Shimmering Skies. While there were beautiful artworks and some really cool cards that had really cool mechanics that came out, there are two standout cards that are still in the meta and changed the meta. Those two cards that I want to point out are Doc and Pete. Doc is Doc the Bold Knight, who is a 1/3. But what's cool about this 2-cost unequal character is that his ability is drastic measures. Whenever you play this character, you may discard your hand and draw 2 cards. In the meta, we talk about chaining docs, where you have a doc in hand, you play out something or ink it, play your doc, draw your 2 cards, you have another doc in hand, which then you can chain docs, play it again, discard, and draw more cards. This type of draw allows for an advantage because you're not only putting a character on the board, but you're also getting rid of potentially unwanted cards to find better cards. Pete, on the other hand, is the game's referee. He's a 3/3, a 3-cost unequal. He really likes the 3s. But why he is so pertinent and why he changed the metagame, and frankly, has changed how we think about the game in a lot of ways, is that his ability, Blow the Whistle, is when you play this character, opponents cannot play actions until the start of your next turn, which ultimately shuts down things like Steel Song or even action-heavy decks. This card can save you from a Be Prepared as much as it can save you from an Along Came Zeus, protecting your characters and also your board state. These two staples from Shimmering Skies changed how we looked at the game and how interactions played out on a lore counting field. These 2 cards are going to see a lot of play, especially after rotation. But even right now, they're both in some of the top decks that get played at every tournament. Moving on to Azurite Sea. Azurite Sea was by far the longest set of any Lorcana set so far. We had it for what felt like an eternity. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that there were a lot of things that happened during the time that we had Azurite Sea. A lot of us were waiting for Continentals, then got really excited for Worlds, and Azurite Sea was still around. Technically, Azurite Sea was around even through when Worlds would have likely been. But that's okay, because as they were figuring out their details, we got a lot to say and play with the Azurite Sea. We felt like we were sailing for days and nights, almost like we were Moana, but not as cool. So the 2 cards that I picked from Azurite Sea are ones that not only changed the game, but became staples for these colored decks. First is Sail the Azurite Sea, which is a 2-cost inkable card that allows you to ramp. It is a sapphire card, so naturally it gets played in blue. The other card I picked was Genie Wish Fulfilled. This, in a lot of ways, is a purple card that made up for Rabbit. And for those of us who maybe aren't familiar with what Rabbit does, Rabbit, whenever it enters play, it's Merlin Rabbit, it will draw you a card. Whenever it leaves play, it also draws you a card, which is super cool. But the Genie is an evasive character that quests for 2 lore. And you still get the ability of drawing a card whenever it enters play. These 2 cards not only became a staple in Blurple, which is the blue-purple deck, or Sapphire Amethyst, but they also became staples in their respective colors. So Ruby Amethyst, for example, plays Genie. Amethyst Steel plays Genie. Even some Amethyst Emerald plays Genie, because Genie is a really good, hard to get rid of character. Additionally, all Sapphire decks play Sail for the most part. Sail the Azurite Sea is what you want to be doing on turn 2 for a blue-red deck that prioritizes ramping, even blue-purple. Because the idea is with Sapphire, you're trying to get more ink so you can use more resources for bigger characters in the future. This is necessary for Sapphire gameplay now, which ultimately changed how the deck functions. Because before, we had to play Develop Your Brain, which had to be done on one, and honestly took the place of something like a popsicle or something that allowed you to draw in a more efficient manner. But with Sail the Azurite Sea, you get to draw a card and ink an extra card. So it gave you that necessary card draw that you were lacking because of Sapphire's ramp ability, and gave you the ramp that you were desperately needing. These two sets changed how we existed in the Lorcana space in a very major and cool way, because it defined interactions. I would not be surprised if most decks are playing one, if not multiple, of these 4 cards, because these are set staples for both of these individual sets, but they are meta staples for after the rotation. Now that we've discussed meta in these 2 particular sets, let's jump into some more about these 2 sets.
Okay, Cece here again with some more starter deck magic. We're speeding it up today and we're going through 2 chapters. So let's get started by digging straight into Shimmering Skies. We've got here an Emerald Steel and a Ruby Amethyst deck. These both are very fun decks, and I'm excited to see how the play goes later, although I don't know if we'll both choose decks from Shimmering or if we will choose some from Azurite as well, given that we're doing the 2 sets today. But anyways, let's read and see what we've got. For our Emerald Steel deck, it's called a Roaring Guest List. The festivities are underway, and so is the scheming. Emerald Glimmer Scar, Vengeful Lion, and his band of hyenas prowl the festivities, looking for an advantage among glimmers distracted by all the fun. Meanwhile, Vigilant Steel Glimmer Kronk, head of security, helps to make sure no party crashers disrupt your winning strategy. Ooh, that's fun. I like that a lot. Might think about playing that one. We'll see. And here we've got our Elsa and our Wreck-It Ralph in the Ruby Amethyst, ready to let loose. Harness the forces of nature as Amethyst Glimmer's Elsa, the 5th spirit, and the other spirits guide you into the unknown. Then add some pixel power and let Ruby Glimmer's Wreck-It Ralph, Demolition Dude, and the Sugar Rush Racers help you speed towards the finish line and sweet victory. Oh, that sounds fun too. Honestly, I may not play either of those because we also have these 2 amazing Azurite Sea decks this episode. Emerald Sapphire and Amber Ruby, really giving a spotlight to some new and fun ways that we can pair ink and make our amazing decks. So here we've got one that is featuring Go-Go Tamago and Gadget Hack Wrench. That's the Emerald Sapphire one. And then over here we've got our good old buddy Jim Hawkins and Tigger with the Amber and Ruby deck. So I'm excited to look at these. Let's see what the Amber and Ruby deck has for us. A Seaworthy Crew. Cast off for uncharted waters as you sail into the unknown. You'll want the likes of Amber Glimmer Jim Hawkins, Honorable Pirate, and Ruby Glimmer Tigger in the crow's nest in your ship. With the help of plenty of other pirates, you'll navigate the dangers of the Azurite Sea while seeking adventure and precious lore. Pirates have such a deep place in my heart, in my Disney history. This is so exciting. I'll be looking forward to trying that deck out. I haven't actually tried it yet. I have tried this deck before. This is our Emerald Sapphire deck, Genius Reinvented. Think like an inventor and transform the way you play as Emerald Glimmer Go-Go Tamago Darting Dynamo zips into action, along with the always thinking Sapphire Glimmer Gadget Hack Wrench, Brilliant Bosun. With speed and intellect, you'll work quickly and creatively to secure the lore that will mean victory. So much fun with the inventors and the pirates in this set, and so excited to get to play a little bit with one of these decks. I'm leaning a little towards this one, I think, later on today.
Welcome back and welcome to our special guest, Robin. Hi, Robin. How are you?
Hi, I'm okay. How are you
Yeah,
guys?
pretty
Good.
good. Pretty good. I like my new hat.
Yeah,
I must say. I must
I like
say.
that's
your
really
new hat
nice.
too.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm fishing for compliments.
Yeah.
So Robin,
That
tell
Azurite
us a little
Seas.
bit about who you are and how you got into trading card games and specifically Lorcana.
Well, hi, I'm Robin. I have been playing trading card games since I think I was 4 years old. I started with Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon in 2001 or 2002. And then I played those for probably like 3 or 4 years as a kid. So it was like, just having fun looking at the cards and playing stuff like that. And then I started to get into more competitive aspects of trading card games with Pokemon and Magic towards like I want to say like 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I started playing trading cards games very young, and I've been playing for a very long time. And Arcana I got into um, the same way I get into most trading card games is I heard about it in the closed beta, and I was very excited about the worldwide launch, or the at this point it was the U.S. launch
Mm-hmm.
in 2023, I believe, August, and I've been playing since then. This game specifically drew me in because it is so dynamic in the community aspect compared to other trading card games where this one caters way more towards something more akin to Pokemon, where it's catering towards a fan base of collectors and of lovers of the IP. Um, and I really appreciate that about this game.
Very fair.
So you've been doing this for a really long time, longer than me. This is my first TCG. I mean, I've dabbled a little bit in Magic over the years, but never competitively, which makes complete sense as to why you're such a great judge. I know that I've had the lovely experience of having you as my judge. How did you get into judging?
Well, actually, similarly, around 2008 or 2009, I was playing competitive Magic, and there was even at that time, there was a significant lack in tournament organization in general and people who are willing to be community advocates. So I was like 12 or 13 at the first time I took a judge test. And I have been, I mean, obviously, I wasn't working as a judge at 12 or 13, but I was a intern, to for lack of a better term, to be a judge for probably like 5 or 6 years until I started to host my own events, run my own stores, um, judge for events and travel for events and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd been on this path for a long time, and it kind of started because I just saw that the community needed it. Right, I felt like it's something that I could offer the community.
What's the your favorite thing that you've ever judged?
Ooh. Um, I judged a few third-party events for Magic in Chicago when I lived in Chicago. And those were a lot of fun because that was back when Magic was getting 5 or 6 thousand people for the main event.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it
Wild.
was just it was like a extravagant thing that like it was an event, like to say it was an event obviously, but it was like a
Yeah.
phenomenon that people would go to, right? And that it was something that was to be seen. It was one of my favorite things about card games in general is just getting this huge community together and building building something from that, right? Like making everyone have a good time when there's 20,000 people in the room, right? Like,
Right.
yeah,
Wow. I can't even imagine that. 20,000 people in a room.
yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool though. So you mentioned tournament organizing and just judging bigger events. For Lorcana, I hear that you are an esteemed ICL judge. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so for those that are unfamiliar, the ICL is the Illumineers Champions League. It is a online fan-run tournament series that is pitting teams of Lorcana players against each other, and I mean that in like a good sportsmanship pitting, right? Like it's not we're not fighting to the death, right? It's all in good fun. It's a fan run community event that we all care deeply about, and it's all out of volunteer hours. Like we don't nobody makes money off of it. We're just doing it because we all love the game. All the teams love the game, and we want to expose more people to high level play for competitive players and get an idea of what that kind of looks like for everyone. So I'm one of the judges. I have a team. Well, I'm not one of the leads, but we have a team of I believe 10 people right now. And I recently did one of the. I was the head judge for one of the quarterfinal matches or semifinal matches, which is really exciting. And then I know this is coming out later, but we have the finals for season one tomorrow night, which is very exciting.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Sweet.
super cool. I tune in all the time. It's a great thing to tune into for those of you who maybe haven't. You can watch on Twitch. Multiple different people stream. I personally watch on Wonderland stream, but I find it great. Like I'm doing dishes and I'm like, I'm watching some Lorcana, or I'm like playing Lorcanito, and I'm like, oh, watching Lorcana. That's cool. Um, so yeah. What are some of the things that might be different from judging something like ICL, which is online and virtual and for a virtual audience, than like judging, say, something that is 2,000, 5,000 people, like a DLC?
So there's a lot more intimacy with the online judging, especially with this small of a crew. And I don't mean small like we have like maybe 100 people that are playing in the ICL, so it's not small, but
Yeah.
we're doing one round at a time. And it's a team of judges where we just get to sit and watch each game. So it's a lot more of a personable and intimate setting
Hmm.
to doing that. And there's also a lot of complications that come with doing online tournaments with like if people have bad connections or if they don't know how to set up stream properly or if they have issues with Discord or if they just might not be super familiar with the mannerisms that are required when playing on online and also on stream. For example, we would have in the beginnings we would have some people who wouldn't announce things to their opponents, and it was more like they were coming at it like the idea that this was testing, and like it is, right? At the end of the day, it's just fan run, but there's still a necessity for the professionalism of like, hey, we need to go through the proper process. We need to do things by the book, essentially, so that we teach other people, how to do things by the book. Because a lot of miscommunication happens with people just even like locals level play. People don't know the rules,
Yeah.
and that's not a bad thing. People just don't know the rules because there's a lot to learn,
Yeah.
and that's why there are judges because we're supposed to know the rules and teach you how to play. Um, and so like there was a little bit of a learning curve for teaching people like, hey, we need to make sure that you are representing your hand size at all times so that people on stream as well as your opponents kind of know what's going on. We need
Hmm.
to represent lore totals, we need to represent ink totals, we need to make sure you're exerting your ink fully so that people see how much you've done for the turn, stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's little things like that where it was a learning curve. And then for bigger events, it would be more of logistics around. like scorekeeping, or if there's like um, if people misrepresent what the actual round was, or if there's people who are trying to angle shoot, or if there's people who are um, like needing accommodations, or there's so many different aspects that go into judging bigger events because it's just a larger number of people that like these little things come up that you might not realize are important and are necessary for the health of the community and the health of the event and the health of the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you touched on something that I think our viewers would love to hear a little bit more about, which is like judges are there to support the growth of the community, to provide, understanding and teaching for things you may not know. I know that when I was a new player and I was first going out to league settings, it was really intimidating. And at my first DLC, somebody called a judge on me, and I was like, "Oh no, what did I do?" Right? And it wasn't actually that I had done anything, and they weren't actually calling the judge on me. They were calling the judge to find out how the items would resolve and in what order for something that they wanted to try to do, which really got me thinking about how can we like break down that intimidation factor and sort of normalize that judges and calling a judge is not necessarily a bad thing.
I think honestly the best way to normalize calling a judge is to do it more often. Um, like even if you have to make it like, hey judge, can I drink water at the table? Right? Like
Right.
if you have to ask mundane questions just to break that barrier of communication for yourself, or to make it less of a me versus them mentality when talking to your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's it's really important to kind of get people used to just having somebody on your side, and that's what a judge is there for, right? The judge is supposed to be a mediator to um, resolve any disputes that happen in the game, but they're also there to make sure the integrity of what you're trying to do makes sense, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're trying to if you're not able to ask a judge for advice for what you should do in a turn, right? But you are able to ask them if something works the way you think it does
Yeah.
before doing it, right? So, like, if you have a weird rules interaction that you're not 100% sure of, rather than committing to it and then hoping that it works and then getting a judge call and finding out you're wrong, you can
Yeah.
call a judge beforehand, be like, hey, does this work the way that I think it does? And then I can just be like, yes, it does, or no, it doesn't. And then you don't have to make that mistake. And your opponent is also knowledgeable on that interaction now, too. And maybe people that heard the interaction around the table are knowledgeable now. Um, it's really, judges are here to enhance your experience with the game.
Yeah.
And they should not be treated like we're cops or like we're gonna punish people for um, doing minor things incorrectly or out of sequence. Like it
Yeah.
is our job to give warnings, like, hey, don't do that. Rarely, very rarely does it come to the point of like, hey, I need to kick you out because you bullied someone or yada yada yada, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's never that. It's more of a mediation position and more of a, hey, let's make sure that you guys are having the most Lorcana experience you can, right? Like
Hmm.
the most Disney Lorcana experience we can offer.
Yeah, for sure. You also touched on something else that I think is worth noting. You mentioned ADA accommodations,
Mhm.
and most people might not even think to ask their judge about stuff like that. What kind of things do people ask you about that a judge can help facilitate?
Well, I personally am disabled. I use a wheelchair for big events, and I use fixed seating, which is basically it means that if you are at an event and you have a hard time getting up and moving around, you can ask for seating at the same table so that you can always have an assigned spot essentially for the entire event.
Mm-hmm.
You can also ask for time extensions if you have difficulties with processing, or if you have nature of just not understanding how things work and tend to go slower, you are more than welcome to ask for these things. And the accommodations are not always tied to having disabilities or needing accommodations. It is also acceptable to ask for accommodations as a want to better your experience and better your opponent's experience.
Mhm.
If you feel like the game will go better if you have 5 extra minutes to just think so you're less stressed about the time, please ask, right? Like the goal is to make everyone have an enjoyable experience, and if you are stressed about time, or if you're worried about moving around too much, or if you're worried about the communication barrier is another thing that we can do. If you don't speak the same language as people, we can offer a little bit of translation or communication in
Mhm.
that regard, and make sure things are going smoothly in the rounds for you. Um, yeah, and I mean, there's plenty of other accommodations I'm probably missing out on because I didn't think about it more before this. But those are just to touch on a few. And if you ever have questions about things that are accommodations, you can always ask. It doesn't hurt to ask.
Right. So what I'm hearing from you is that if I'm like a new player and I'm nervous that my newness might make me a little slower, might make us need a little more time to get through it, the judge is like my buddy, and I'm going to ask my buddy to help make it so that I am having the time that I need and that other folks understand and know what's going on, and I'm not taking time away from other people because I'm going a little bit slower. Because I know that like it does take me a little extra time, especially I've been playing a little bit of Star Wars Unlimited this week because my partner it was taking me to the Galactic Championship, and I don't know the game very well, so it's taking me a while to just like move through the cards. And I think that understanding that in a judging situation, I can say that I can say, hey, I'm new and I just need an extra second, would be super super helpful.
Yeah. And I'll say, as somebody who didn't know about being able to get accommodations, and Robin, you were one of the first people that was like, dude, get your accommodations. What are you talking about? Um, I thought of it as a very scary and daunting process. And I was like, I don't want to take this away from someone else. And that really isn't the case. Like, it very much is you talk to somebody and you're like, hey, like, I think that I would need these things, or this is a problem that I am having. And then it becomes a co-constructed conversation of like, well, what accommodations might work for you? Here are the ones we have available. Or if you have some in mind, like I remember one of the things that I will always appreciate was in Vegas, I was judging the DLC. And Robin, to brag on her a little bit, I was having a really hard time with how loud Vegas was because I personally had never been to Vegas, and I chose to stay on Fremont and found out that Fremont is Fremont for a reason. And the convention center that we were in for the DLC was very poorly insulated, and it was just so echoey, and it was a nightmare. And honestly, like there were parts of that I personally I was way too overstimulated, couldn't deal. And Robin was like, try these loops. And if you're not familiar with loops, they are headphones that are kind of like earplugs. There's no like sound that comes through them, but they allow for sounds around you to be dampened or even sometimes removed. And I found that super helpful. I still wear those when I play competitively, and it is an accommodation that you should tell tournament organizers, TOs, and judges about. But you also talk to your opponent about it, and it creates this conversation around visibility of disabilities and being like, hey, so I need you to talk at me. If you talk down, I read lips when I have loops in, and I might have to ask you several times what you said. Or I get the 5-minute time extension due to my accommodations, and oftentimes having that conversation proactively of like, hey, just so you know, we get 5 minutes extra at once time hits before turns happen. And those type of conversations are really important, and also can be really funny if you say that you get 5 minutes and then your opponent's like, so you get extra 5 minutes but I don't.
I'm just gonna keep playing.
I'm gonna keep playing, and then you can sit there, and then we'll.
I've been part of those conversations multiple times where Alex will tell their opponent, "Hey, I have 5 extra minutes in my time," and their opponent just looks so confused. Like their their opponent will just sit there like, "How do you get more time?"
Yeah, in a turn-based game, great question. Because it's not like I get extra turns.
No.
But yeah, I think that those conversations around being in the space, asking for accommodations, or even just like trying to figure out if accommodations are something that would be helpful for you, is something that often starts at a point of a judge conversation. As well as those things like interactions. I remember Vegas, one of the big interactions that the judges had to be on the same page about was what Ravensburger said about announcing Pete triggers, because that changed how we rewound. And yeah, it definitely changes that space for sure. Into talking about judging and tournament organizing. I also hear that you might be a tournament organizer at a couple different places. Can you tell us a little bit about tournament organizing?
Yeah. So, oh God, where do I start? So I started doing tournament organizing when I was actually able to start getting jobs, like probably around like 17 or 18 years old. And I basically every single trading card game, every single minis game, every board game tournament, every video game tournament, they all have different protocols, different softwares, different rules and rules of engagement as well. And because I love supporting communities, I do all of them, and that tends to it tends to be a little bit of a it's eye opening, right? Where you get to see how everyone interacts with the same finite idea and reframe it so that it works for them, right? Of tournament organization, I mean, like you have brass tacks, you have a bracket system, right? Like you have 8 players in an event, and you're doing 3 rounds, best of 3, and there's going to be a winner at the end, right? But the way that every single person goes, every single tournament software and every single um, game goes about it is so dynamic to themselves. And one of the things that actually drew me a lot to Lorcana was the 2 game format and the dynamic nature of basically saying, hey, we're going to completely uplift everything you know about tournament organization because we're making a new way of Swiss,
Yeah.
right? Which is, it's incredibly bold, I guess is the best way of saying it.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of players, I've heard both positive and negative reviews of 2 game format because I've interacted with a lot of players, probably in the tens of thousands. And overall, I think that the way that tournament organization for Lorcana is handled is fantastic. Um, I think that we have truly one of the greatest card games that has ever been made on our hands, and we are seeing the first steps of the evolution of it, right? Where we get a lot of the stumbles, right? We get a lot of the
Sure.
issues that come with like DLC season 1, and we get a lot of the issues that came with 2 game format and with the dice roll issue, and um, we get a lot of issues, but we also get a lot of solutions that come our way, and it takes a lot of restraint to not shake people's heads when they're complaining about certain aspects of tournament organization that they might not fully know about. Um, it is it's a big beast, is really what it is.
Yeah.
Especially managing these bigger events like the DLCs, and now we have CCQs, which you're not if you're
Mhm.
not familiar, it's challenge continental challenge qualifiers, I believe, which is basically third party events that are supported by Ravensburger that will give some finite number of invites for the continental challenges, which is very exciting. And I love that they are going that direction. And it gives us a way of having more power in the players and community's hands to actually make a difference tournament wise in how
Mhm.
our game shapes up.
Yeah.
Because what this next year and a half is going to look like for competitive play is a bunch of people experimenting, a bunch of people getting it wrong, and a bunch of people learning from mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of mistakes, and a lot of people are going to find that as a reason to complain, but I will always see it as a reason to be excited for the future.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, we're all like, if we make mistakes, we're not gonna make the same mistake again, right? Like never, you're never gonna get publicly shamed and then be like, oh, I'm gonna do that again,
Well, I sure hope
One
not.
would hope.
So like, I think that perspective goes a long way, and a little patience and kindness for the people who are doing all of these events for you goes a
Mhm.
long way too. I've noticed a lot of hostility in the last few months towards um, tournament organizers in general, as
Mhm.
well as like Ravensburger, and I try my best in like online spaces to negate that negativity, um, because it's unfounded. I get the upset and the frustrations with how things are being handled, but we as a community and we as a uh, I guess we as a people of play. Sorry, I'll take that back. Um, we as a community are trying our best to reinvent the wheel
Mhm.
in a way that works for us.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of people will just look at it and say, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And that might be true, but then there's no forward momentum,
Yeah.
right? If we don't if we don't expand upon what we've already learned, then we're just another card game that dies in 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate every time that happens.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad that that's not the direction this game is going.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think we've always said it is the only way that we can get better is by finding places that we aren't excelling, right? If
Yeah.
we were excelling everywhere, there would be no growth, no way to move forward. And I have found that Ravensburger, at least, and in local community as well, when we say what we need, Lorcana community is ready to try to meet that need,
Yeah.
right? I've not gotten closed doors. I've not gotten hard no's. I've gotten, let's see what we can do about that. And that
Yeah.
generally leads to change that I like. I think that it's been difficult for me as well to see some of the stuff that's been going on hostility wise in the universe of the internet. But I'm really proud of how this game is growing and evolving, and how every time we do see some thing that is received as a major difficulty or bad, it is followed up with some sort of change. Like you said, they're not doing the same things over and over again. We are seeing change. And so our best job, and we've said this before, I think in the cast, our best job is that we can do is to verbalize what we would like to see and give people the opportunity to say, that might be a great idea. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I think that this team of people we have working for us, the Ravensburger team, the Disney Lorcana team, is so in tune with the community to a fault almost, right?
Yeah.
Where we have this unfettered access to this team of devs, and no other game has had that
Yeah.
before.
No
I
other
mean,
company
Magic.
does that. Like,
Yeah, Magic
Correct.
has had the blog for Mark Rosewater. If you're unfamiliar, Mark Rosewater is one of the, well, he was one of the head designers for Magic the Gathering for like 20 plus years.
Mhm.
And he had a blog that was essentially Tumblr that people could ask questions on, and it would be like an ask anything, get an anything answer type thing. And that was pretty much the closest we had to anything like what we have now with the Discord, with constant access to the like Greg Tito and Rochelle Brady and Cooper, uh, who are always ready to answer and field questions, and even if they don't have answers, they tell us we don't know yet,
Yeah.
and that is so much. That's so much better coming from games where we just get blank stares and um, no verbal confirmation of anything for years.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so for people who this is your first TCG, um, I very much understand frustrations that come with sit and wait answers, and we don't know yet answers, and we'll find out next week answers, and um, things like that are frustrating, and you have every right to be frustrated. With that being said, this group of people that we have working for us is far and away the most community driven group of people I have ever seen for a trading card game. And I think that they deserve your levity and your grace and your respect. And I think that that will go a long way in engaging with them.
Yeah, I think that that is very well put. And I think it gives a lot of perspective, especially when there is a lot of hurt feelings, some justified, some maybe less so. But especially when one, this game is so new, but two, we have such a vibrant community and such an invested group of people, both behind the card game and playing the card game
Yeah.
and judging the card game and running the card game.
Yeah,
So,
the other thing I wanted to bounce off a point you just made is we're a new game. Something that I've been telling people, like to put it in perspective recently, is we are in year two. In year one of DLCs, we had Atlanta, which was 512 players.
mhm,
Um, it sold out in 30 seconds, which was, you know, I mean, it was 500 people. It makes sense. It's a new game. But then we quadrupled the participant number to 2048 for Fort Worth, I believe was the next one.
okay.
Chicago.
And that, yeah, and that one sold out in 30
Mhm,
seconds, which, if you're unfamiliar with trading card games, is unheard of.
mhm,
It is like Magic doesn't sell out of
Yeah.
events. And I mean, they might have used to, they don't anymore. And, but they also have uncapped events. So it's a different conversation. Magic is also 30 years old. That was year one of Disney Lorcana. And you can chalk that up to new game hype. You can chalk that up to IP hype. You can chalk that up to any number of excuses. The end of the day is that we sold 5,000 tickets for Fort Worth in under a minute. And
mhm,
then we did it again and again and again and again and again and again. And now we're back on season two, and people are frustrated that we have the same number of tickets for our DLCs. Americans are frustrated that we have less events in America, which is understandable. We do have more DLCs worldwide, though, which is incredible news. I'm
mhm,
so excited for some of my friends in the Philippines. Shout out Bernici. And I'm so excited for our friends in China and Japan and Brazil. And Australia has a full circuit now.
mhm,
Um, and it's very exciting to have worldwide growth. It is understandably frustrating that it comes at the expense of having only three DLCs in America and Europe. Um, Grain of salt. Um, the thing to recognize is that we have unprecedented numbers of interested players.
Yes.
for this game.
Yep.
Absolutely.
One Piece, the One Piece TCG is similarly popular. It is very, very new, and it is incredibly popular, and it also is IP backed. So the comparison is there. The difference between One Piece and Lorcana is that One Piece has a company that has been doing trading card games for 30 years, Bandai, if
Yeah.
you're unfamiliar. And we have a company that made puzzles and they made Disney villainous, and then they stepped into Lorcana.
Right.
And I love them with all of my heart, but
They're learning.
they are learning still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it when we put the underdog in the big leagues without testing the waters of the little leagues, this is the type of stuff that happens where we get these unprecedented numbers and then we don't know how to deal with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We need to support them, right? We need to
Right.
come out and give them the support that they're trying to give us as we get through these baby stages.
Exactly.
It has been such a pleasure to have you with us today, Robin. Thank you so much for taking time out of your birthday to be with us. We really, really appreciate it. How can folks find you if they're looking for you online?
You can't.
Fair.
So I don't really do I don't have social medias. I am a community builder, so I focus my time and energy on making sure that people have the best experience for the events that I'm running. I'm based in Portland. I do travel a lot now internationally for events. So you'll find me if you ever find me at a DLC or a CCQ, come say hi. I'm not hard to find. I'll be in a wheelchair and I have bright hair. I'm on Discord. I'm always just Robin on Discord, so you'll find me somewhere in some community. Feel free to reach out, talk to me. If you have any questions about becoming a judge or becoming a tournament organizer for your local communities, you feel free to reach out to me. Let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and without further ado, let's get into some more starter deck play. Maybe this time you'll win.
We keep saying that.
All right. Okay. Today is your day, Alex.
We keep saying that.
It's going to happen. It has to happen. Today's the day. You're going to smite me into oblivion.
I mean, I am playing with my heavy play sleeves.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you that don't know me, I have found a love for these heavy play sleeves because they just shuffle so well. And quite frankly, it's really because my partner is really rough on her sleeves. Like I can buy her new sleeves, she can break them the day I get them. She has not been able to, which is kind of their whole shtick. So
we love. All right. Would you like to cut my deck?
I will cut it twice, and I don't care where.
Okay.
Would you like to cut mine?
Once, and I don't care where.
Beautiful.
Shall we do high or low roll?
I picked the last few times, and it's not gone well for me. So I think you should pick.
Okay, I'm going to pick low roll.
All right.
I picked an 11. Whoa! See? See? Everything's coming up, Alex.
I think it's going to be good. I'll go first.
Great. Good luck.
You as well. I'm very interested in what's going to happen. To be quite honest with you. And I am playing a Shimmering Skies starter deck. It's the purple and red one.
I picked Shimmering Skies too.
Shimmering Skies was just so happy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm going to be playing the Emerald Steel deck. I'm going
Emerald Steel.
I'm back 2 or 3. Maybe I'm going back 3. Yeah, I'm going back 3.
I am going to go back a number. And I think that number is 3. We're going to say that number is 3. you know? And I don't know that number should have been 3. I'm just kidding. We do not judge our mulligans by what we get, but rather by what we get rid of. And I got rid of what needed to be gotten gone.
Hey, that's a really good way to do that. I like that. I will do that. Yeah. Okay, let's see. 0.
And I will tap the deck.
Okay, same.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful.
Good luck. Take us away.
Take us away. I will do just that. I will ink one of the beautiful racers in this set, Rancis Plugger Butter. That's a name. And then I will pay 1 for an item. Yes, it's going that way again. For the Retrosphere, which has the ability to pay 2 ink to banish this item and return a chosen character, item, or location with the cost 3 or less to their player's hand. And then I will pass to you.
Okay. So you pay 3 and it puts an item, location, or character?
You pay 2. And it returns, it bounces a character, item, or location with cost 3 or less.
Very nice. Okay. I am going to draw a card.
Okay.
I'm going to ink that card. Simba, Lost Prince.
Mm-hmm.
And I will play Rudy. Groove Disruptor. Rudy is a 2/2/1 quester. And pass.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. PC, you and I were just talking about how these decks for Shimmering Skies, we noticed that they're all set 5, whereas previous sets of 1 through 4 included 1 through 4 cards. And so we speculate that maybe that's because there was this rotation that was planned.
That makes sense. I didn't even notice until I was sleeving up today that they were all set 5 cards.
Yeah.
Your hand is coming a little bit into the camera.
Oh, that's okay. Honestly, I don't know that hand knowledge is really going to matter in this particular game. I would love to say that it will, but I don't know that is true. So I will ink a Hypnotic Strength.
Oof.
Because I do not have any characters, but I will pay 2 to bounce this item and bounce that character to your hand.
Saw that coming. Sorry, Rudy.
I'll pass. Why do these decks do this to me?
I will draw a card. I will ink yet another Simba Lost Prince.
We love that.
I will pay 2 for Little John and Rudy. Hopefully avoid this situation again. And pass. Little John is a 0/4 with 1 lore. Little John still gets quite a bit of play, actually.
Yeah. Very true. Well, I will ink Gale to play a library, and I'll pass.
Amazing.
I'm not going to play characters this game. I'm just going to play items and locations.
I will draw for turn. Interesting. I'm going to ink. Is that what I want to do? I don't think it is, actually. I think I'm going to ink the Tropical Rainforest. The Tropical Rainforest is a location that says opposing damaged characters gain reckless, which I'm sure has a very great place, but I don't want it right now.
It really probably would if I were playing characters.
Indeed.
I knew. I was just avoiding that card. That's
of course, obviously.
Yeah.
I will pay 3 to play Shenzi. Shenzi is a 2/3 evasive.
Mhm.
It says, well, while challenging a damaged character, this character gets +2.
Cool.
And I will quest for 1 and put 2 into the library.
Alrighty. Beautiful.
How much does the library have? 8?
8 willpower.
Okay, and pass.
Alrighty. I will gain a lore from my library.
Yes.
Match you at 1, and I'll draw. Interesting.
Interesting.
I will ink an Archimedes.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just feels like the right thing to do, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah. What is the willpower on the character that you just played?
The Shenzi?
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2/3.
It's a 2/3. Okay. I will pay 4 for a Bruni.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will pass to you.
What's Bruni's stat line?
Oh, yeah, that would be helpful, wouldn't it? Bruni is a 2/2 evasive that whenever this character is banished, you may draw a card, and it also quests for 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then I will pass to you.
I will draw for turn. Interesting. I will ink Hypnotic Deduction. I will pay 2 for this Kronk. Kronk is a 1/4 Challenger 1 who has 1 lore.
Okay.
Then I am going to what am I going to do here? I'm going to quest for 1, go to 2, and put 4 into the library.
Okay.
And pass.
All right. I will gain 1 for the library.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will draw. Well, now that was an interesting draw. Interesting. Interesting. That is very interesting. All right, I'm going to pay 1 to move Bruni to the library.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do something else eventually. Seems like that might not be the best plan, but it is a plan that I could do. Okay. The evasive 2/4 or 2/3, 2/3, yeah. It only quests for 1, is that correct?
Correct.
And it doesn't have any other ability than evasive?
While challenging a damaged character, this character gets +2.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It just hasn't mattered yet. I understand. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think we have to do it this way, and that's just good enough. I will pay 3
Mm-hmm.
for Snowana, who is a 2/4 that has Rush and Conquest for 1.
Mm-hmm.
I will ink something or other. Will I ink something or other? No, I don't think I will ink something or other. I will take out the. No, that seems bad. This all seems so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that that might be just the wrong play. Can I take it back?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm gonna not have done that because that's silly goofy. We still have moved Bruni here, but
Mm-hmm.
instead I'm going to pay 2 for
Mm-hmm.
Hypnotic Strength to give +2 Challenger here to Bruni.
Yep.
And I get to draw a card, so I'll draw
Great.
the card. And then I'll have Bruni take out the Goober Nut there.
Mm-hmm.
When this dies, I get to draw a card from Bruni, and then also for being at the library.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Nice.
yeah, I just like drawing cards actually.
I mean, that's the way to win the game.
You know, that's my hope. That's my hope. I will. Okay. I will ink an Earth Giant, and then I will pass to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I will draw for turn.
And I now have 5 cards in hand.
I have 4 cards in hand. But I'm going to ink this Simba. I'm going to pay 5 for Zazu. Zazu is a 3/5 evasive that quests for 2.
Okay.
I'm going to put Rudy into the library to finish that off.
Yeah.
And then I will quest for 2 going to 4.
Oof.
With Kronk and Little John and pass.
Yep. Oh, Zazu. Oh, that's interesting. I think my deck just thinks it's really funny. Personally, I do just keep trying to explain to it that it isn't funny, but I think it disagrees with me. The card next to Little John is which card?
Kronk. Kronk is a 1/4 with a Challenger 1 and 1 lore.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that seems so goofy. Why would you play that card? I wish I could just show you my hand because it is just real goofy. But we work with what we've got.
Mm-hmm.
What we've got is not a whole lot of anything. Haha, I'm gonna pay 3 for a library,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then I'm going to wish I were inking a different card, also known as Taffeta Mutton Fudge, to play a 3-cost uninkable because because because
Because.
Snowana.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an experience, and I can not take anything out, so I will just cry about it, I guess.
What is Snowanna's stat line?
She's a 2/4.
Does she have any other stuff?
Rush.
I thought so. Why can't you take... Oh. Yeah, I mean, you could take Rudy out.
Oh, I thought Rudy was a 1/3.
2/2.
Cute. We'll go ahead and do that. Yep. And then I'll pass.
Bet.
Yep.
All right.
I like to be goofy.
I already set draw. I will... what am I going to do here, actually? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will... 2, 4... Is Snowanna evasive?
No.
No.
She's just an existing body.
Okay. I will pay 5 for another Zazu.
No!
I'm going to throw Kronk into
Yeah.
there.
Seems good.
And I will quest for 3. Going to 7.
Yeah.
Pass.
Yeah. I will gain 1 for my library to go to 3. I'll draw for turn. The deck is laughing at me at this point, I think. But why would they give me that card? Well, I do not have a whole lot of options. So I guess the option is to go 5 for an Elsa.
Yes.
Pay 1, move her to the library, and take out the damaged character.
Yep.
And I take back 2.
1, because I'm not challenging.
Yep, that's right. That's the one that had the 1. And then I will well pass, because really, what else am I going to do, you know?
Dookie. Draw. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Huh. Okay. I will.
It's okay. You can pass turn. You don't have to.
I will put Zazu into Elsa.
Okay. And that does
3 damage.
Okay.
And then I will pay 1 for food fight. Your characters gain pay 1 and exert to deal 1 damage to chosen character this turn. I'm going to pay 1 and I'm going to exert Little John.
Yeah.
1 damage to Elsa.
Yeah, seems like a good thing. I'll draw since it was at the library.
Mm-hmm. And I'll quest for 2, going to 9.
Yeah,
I will ink Robin Hood and pay 4 for the Royal Guard, who is a 1/7 with 1 lore. I have no cards in hand and I pass.
I will gain a lore for the library to go to 4. You know,
I must have put a curse on you.
I'm drawing bad as well. Like, it's so wild. I have an item in my hand that is not helpful and is uninkable, and then I have 3 4-cost characters. Which is so cool. And then a 5-cost character. So I'm in a boat where I cannot double play unless I play this item that does nothing for me. This is soup's unfortunate. Well, what is your highest statted character?
The Zazus are 3 5s and the Royal Guard is a 1/7. So the Zazus hit the hardest and the Royal Guard can take the most.
Yeah. So I'm going to mm, mm, I'm going to pay 3 for the sword release, which reads at the start of your turn, if you have a character in play with more strength than each opposing character in play,
Mm-hmm.
opponent loses 1 lore, and you gain equal to the lore lost. Great.
Ooh.
And then I will.
It's like an ongoing smaller pirate's life a little bit.
Yeah, it's also very conditional.
Sure. Like
But
frenemy.
yeah, I'm gonna ink an earth giant because I don't want to make it easier for you. And then I will pay 4 for Haransis, who is a 4/4,
Aha.
and I will pass.
Mm-hmm. Are you ready?
The fact that the best I could do is maybe make you lose a lore and maybe make me gain lore is hilarious to me.
I mean, it's a viable strategy.
Yeah.
I
It could be.
have drawn a card that is impossible to play, so
Yay!
not play a card. I will, however, quest for 6.
You know, that
Go
feels bad.
to 15
Yep.
and pass.
So at the start of my turn, I have a 4/4 in play.
Mm-hmm.
Your biggest strength character is a 3, so you will lose a lore, go to 14, and I'll gain a lore, go to 5. And then I will gain a lore for library to go to 6.
Yeah.
And then I'll draw. Okay. That again, I don't know what's really happening here. Okay. And you will quest up to too many next turn.
Yes. If left to my own devices, I am lethal.
Yeah, that sure be it true, don't it? Mm-hmm. I will ink Gale
Mm-hmm.
and play out an Archimedes,
Mm-hmm.
which arguably, actually, I will pay the 1 to move Rancis here first.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will take out what's his face that's not Little John, the other one.
The Royal Guard?
Oh, no, I won't. I will take out the Royal Guard. Or the
Little John.
Yep, that one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep,
Then
yep.
I will play out my Archimedes.
Mm-hmm.
Pay 1 to move Archimedes to the library. Archimedes is a 1/4 that quest for 2 is evasive and has challenger +3.
Nice.
Yeah. And in other circumstances would have been really nice.
Yes.
And I will pass to you because that's the best I've got, friend.
Draw for turn. Don't know that it matters, but I will pay 3 to do chosen character can't challenge during their next turn, draw a card. And I'll give it to Archimedes.
No! Yeah, that's game.
I will draw a card. I will pay 2 for this Robin Hood. And I will quest for 5 to 19.
Yeah. What's Robin Hood's stats?
2/2. When you play this character, if an opponent has a damaged character in play, gain a lore.
Cool. Well, at the start of my turn, I will gain a lore. You will minus a lore.
Yes.
And honestly, and then I'll gain another lore for library, and then I'll draw. If you hadn't played that card, I definitely had a shot, but I know I can't challenge with Archimedes, so I just lose here. I can't even kill myself. I mean, banish. So that is just game.
Good game, Alex.
You know, it wasn't. I only played locations and items. This is so fun.
This is the card I had in my hand, a 9-cost uninkable 6/6 Robin Hood.
I had so many cards that I would have done well, but I didn't see them. Like, I don't even know how I saw all of these items. Like, this is just a goofy, starter deck.
I must have put a spell on you.
Yeah, I think that is what it is.
That's got to be it. At this point.
Ursula, give me my voice back. Wow. That was some riveting gameplay. And much like that riveting gameplay, these two sets brought us so much gameplay, whether it was because in Shimmering Skies, we were so happy to celebrate the downfall of Ursula, or if it was us sailing across the sea, we were excited to play.
And we're so excited about next week. Again, it's going to be another fast-paced, or not next week, in 2 weeks. Our next episode, it's going to be another fast-paced visit through Arcasia's Island and the reign of Jafar. So things are going to get a little scary again, but I'm fairly confident we've got this, and we're ready to defend Lorcana from that scary, scary man. Only less than a month, maybe a little over a month until it's time for a rotation. So we're excited.
Yep. Remember, good or evil, every glimmer has its place. And so do you. See you next time on Rotten to the Lore.